We could have homes on separate coasts, go dive in Greece with squids. Could have been so bleeping rich, but instead we had kids. They won't smile for a photo, they won't eat the food we choose. That's why we're heading to the Parents' Lounge to drown ourselves in booze. Every day we're more exhausted, we haven't slept in years. They hit me in the nuts so bad, my eyes filled up with tears. And yes, we'd like to fake our death and go off of the grids, but the truth is we are softies and we truly love our kids. So join us every Tuesday night to laugh at all our pain. Evening in the Parents' Lounge is the cure to staying sane. Welcome, everybody, to a very hot Parental Mental Health Tuesday here in the Parents' Lounge.
Because Mulligan's back.
Mulligan is back.
Why does it look like Jamie's in a trailer? Are you in a trailer right now? You're supposed to be on strike, mister.
I'm in a trailer. I'm in my office. This is
you usually have like egg crates or something.
That is a Murphy bed right there. Jamie Kayla here with Jason Gowan and Kate Mulligan, the Katest mom ever, is back. It's been a while since we had Mulligan, so she's our special guest. Hey, Travis, how are you? Hey. So, and apparently, from talking to everybody, it has been I don't know, a rough summer, perchance.
What?
No, I honestly, sometimes I'm having something like, for those of you who saw my post this week, somebody stole the front of my car.
That's it's unbelievable.
You can't even, like, all my neighbors were like, I can't believe you're taking it so well. And I said, please, this is hilarious. Truly. So the neighbor across the street has a video. He's there for an hour. It takes him 60 full minutes.
It was just one guy or two guys?
One dude, apparently. He drilled a hole in my door by the handle to pop it. Then he popped the trunk. It was like,
sorry, Kayla. Sorry, go back. What did he do? Give me some step one. He drilled a hole.
Drilled a hole in the door. Popped the door.
Okay, drilled hole by door.
Popped the hood, and then cut the front of the car off in a way that was so, like, you couldn't. He didn't damage really the rest of the car.
Where was Mike Bunin during all this?
It's a great question. I suspect Bunin is at fault.
Is behind it.
And then you can see him at the very end. He has the entire bumper, headlights, my license plate, grill, the front of the car under his arm, and he walks around the corner and leaves. And he's right under this.
Like he's walking out of Sears.
It was like, it's like I'm living in Lowe's, and the dude came and was like, really quick, what aisle is the front of the cars in?
The front of the cars in. Can you, and this is like I'm sure you've done this, or it's a stupid question, but like, could he be selling this on eBay? Is this the sort of thing where we could like look up and find the dude because of this?
I would not be surprised if because the insurance company sent me to a body shop here in my town. And so I go to the body shop. I would not surprise me if they put my own front of my car back onto my car, where I'd be like, oh, you even found my plate. Like, I would not shock me if those are the guys, like, yeah, they made a ton of money.
Yeah.
So here's what sucked is that I call the police, right? And I go, hey, you gotta, I told them the whole story. And she goes, oh, you got to go online. They don't even come out. If somebody doesn't get stabbed, nobody's coming. Nobody is coming for anything. I said, well, they took the front of my car. It's pretty big. They didn't just rummage through my glove box and take stuff. They took the front of my car. And she goes, you got to go online. So I go, whatever. So I go online, I fill out pages of stuff. It finally gets to this one question, and it says, is the cost of the theft over $5,000? And I was like, yeah, I think it is. By the way,
might be.
Turned out to be $25,000. Oddly enough, the front of a car is 25 grand. Like, remember when bumpers were bumpers and they were used to smash into things? Now
That's how I use mine, for being honest.
It's easily collapsible and has to be replaced for like $4 grand. The headlights alone, the guy told me, were $2 grand a piece. I go, what the? And so then I had
to know that our minivan is worth $2,000 in total.
So I called the police department back after. I sat on hold for an hour. I took a photo. 60 minutes I waited on phone with the police. And so finally I talked to the guy on the police. He goes, oh, no, you got to come down to the station. And so then I got up this morning and I went to the police station and put the report in. And
didn't you have a picture of the Grinch on the wall?
They did have a picture. So at the police station, they did a picture of the Grinch on the wall.
Oh,
but
man.
honestly, here's what's really funny. So that happened to me. Arguably not a great day for Jimmy James to have. And it just wasn't, it's not a great way to start the day, to walk out and go, hey, front half of my car's missing. But invariably I call Jason and I call you and I go, oh, my life's going fantastic these days.
I don't know. I have to say, like, I made the joke on your page, but I was like, that's the sort of, like, if somebody steals the front of my car, like, now I storm the Capitol. Like, I'm sorry. That's how mad I am.
It all begins, man.
Like, that's where I'm at. Like, I'm not, now I have to storm the Capitol. Like, that's the sort of thing that would make me see red, because that's the stuff I just don't have space for. Do you know what I mean? Like,
do you need me to 3D print you a buffalo hat?
Yeah, that'd be great.
It didn't bother me, and here's why. It was like here's what happens. If I can tell somebody's been in my car where the glove box is open, and the registration's on the floor,
it's creepy.
I feel violated.
Yes, yeah.
If somebody's in my personal space, I feel violated. But the dude just took the front of the car. I was like, it's a lease. I couldn't care. I was like, I don't care. I mean,
that happened to me in New York City once. They took the entire car and they found it several blocks away, tucked into a parking lot up on blocks. They'd taken out everything out of it except for a Zune. The old, remember Microsoft Zune?
Oh yes, the audio, the MP3 players.
It was Microsoft's iPod. Yeah, and the only thing they left was the.
They're like, yeah, we got iPods.
Do you remember back in the day you had a stereo that slid into a drawer in the car? And you'd 100%. Pull out. So when you get out of the car, you would take your wallet, your keys, and the pull-out stereo.
Yeah. They took like the cover thing.
No, mine actually, the whole thing was like a shoebox and it slid in. Yeah. But then they eventually
mine was just the control panel on the front.
They had just the panel, but this was before that.
It was almost like a tiny little safe that you could pull in and out.
Yeah. It was like a safe deposit box, and you would pull it out, right? And so I had a Volkswagen Cabriolet when I first. It's part of my jokes. What did he say? I didn't see it.
Travis said that he has a spare bumper for a '98 F-150 next to the chicken coop if anyone needs it. So Travis clearly has been stealing front ends of cars. I
will be calling. I had got a Cabriolet, and so you can't. It was a convertible, and you could just punch the roof with a knife. So you had to just leave the windows open and not lock the doors because people would. So you had to get the stereo that slid out or whatever. So I get it. The first night, I forgot to pull it. First night, own it. It's in there. I get out, I go into my apartment in San Diego. I come out the next morning. Not only did they steal the stereo, it was like someone took a jackhammer to the dash. He dug it out like you would dig a tumor out of it.
Not realizing he could just slide it out.
I think, and listen, I'm not saying he. It could have been a she.
Probably was a he.
He wanted whoever it was. They wanted the sleeve it went into, the sheath.
Oh,
so they destroyed.
So he literally did all this for just the harness.
He wanted the thing went into and took
the harness.
So he gouged out the whole dash. It was like Alien had just ripped out the dash, and so that one really upset me. But this one,
we know it wasn't an alien? By the way, we don't know.
It might have been, but it was definitely a he alien.
Yeah,
that's why this one didn't bother me. I was so amazed. It was so meticulously taken off that the wires that connect to the headlight weren't cut. They were unclipped. They had unclipped it so they could use it and put it on. So yeah, it would be surprising.
He wanted to minorly inconvenience you. It was Bunin, I'm sure of it.
It's definitely bad.
It is funny what you're saying though, Kayla, because like I've both had somebody in my house. My mother had look at that pint glass. Look at that sweaty pint glass.
Mm-hmm.
Not the helium on helium. But
Narcolepsy, by the way, that's a t-shirt.
It's a t-shirt.
A Helian or a Shelian? Is it a Helian or how do you identify? Helian or Shelian?
A Thalian.
Extraterrestrial pronouns.
Or they
A Thalian. I'm a Thalian.
I'm a Thalian.
But I will say that like everyone's like when I was mugged and I was mugged at gunpoint, right?
Okay, back up.
Yeah.
Kate just dropped when I was
mugged at gunpoint. No, this was in 2000. I feel like you know the story because my stand-up used to be widely based on this, which
I've heard you tell the story.
Yeah,
which is with everybody.
Yeah, well, the bit used to be like I was mugged at gunpoint, and the guy that you guys, you're getting free stand-up now. The guy that mugged me was Hispanic. Like he came up and he cocked his gun. I'm like, sir, you can have the purse. You didn't need to cock it. You just had to show the gun, and I was going to give it to you.
Oh, he cocked.
Oh, no, he walked at me, cocked it. Mm-hmm. As if I was going to not believe him that he just had the gun. But then like I was as I like tossed it to him, there was like, it wasn't until days later, like I was so violated. If people to this day walk at me too fast, I have like PTSD from the whole thing. Mm-hmm. But what I will tell you is as the days went on and I could start writing the bit more was like, I realized all of the things in it that like in that purse that I was like, oh my God, my birth controls. And like, now I'm going to be, we're going to have to use condoms again. Like it was all of these like little inconveniences or like, I just bought that Sephora lip gloss for $26. Like there was, oh my God, that thing, that one, like I had carried this dollar bill with me since I was in high school that my speech coach had like written on. It was like my good luck. Like that is gone. All of these things. And then like so this part wasn't the bit, but then the bit was like, so my hope is, the other thing was, this was back in the day. You have to imagine this was 2009. So I had all of my stand-up sets. I would buy the DVD from the sets. Mm-hmm. And I had all of the DVDs in that bag because the next day I was bringing them to have my reel made. And literally every single DVD that I would buy them from Chip Dornan. Kaylor.
Oh yeah.
So I literally was like, I'm really hoping, hope against hope, that this guy took my purse home, watched all of my set, was like, this girl's pretty funny, and it's going to show back up tonight to hand me back my purse. There was
that happened on Entourage, didn't it? Didn't the exact thing with Turtle?
No, did it? I've never watched it. Entourage.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Oh my God. Well, that's what I was hoping for, was that basically the guy was going to
tell your life story, Kate, and put it in Entourage.
Oh my God. But that was, I will tell you, it was like, but the stand-up bit ended up being about like, you know, the guy who stole from me was Hispanic. And then the cops that interviewed me were like, so what did he look like? And they were Hispanic too. And I was like, he was a great guy with a wonderful family.
Hard worker.
I said he came from a hardworking family of people. And then I like the one that would kill in LA was, I was like, he was a Dodgers fan.
Oh yeah, that'll do.
But it was just like, it was the worst. Though it wasn't until like you don't realize how violated you are until more like as days go on, you're like, oh my God, and I have to get a new this, and it's such an inconvenience and it's such a violation. So I hear what you mean, that the front of the car, it's gonna be annoying, it's gonna be expensive. But like
our friend Jeff Lewis, who's done this show before, our pal Jeff Lewis,
yes,
has the greatest story ever. That I'm probably going to butcher, but I think we were in an audition and we got out and his car was stolen from outside the audition. We were talking. It's like, my car. I can't believe they stole my car. They stole his car. He went down, filled out a police report, and they did find his car a month later, a half a block from where he said it was stolen from.
I feel like he maybe forgot where he parked it.
He forgot where he parked the car. They reported it stolen. It's the greatest story of all time. And then still to this day, if you ask him, he goes, no. They reparked it back there just to torment me. Like they did it deliberately to torment me. And I was like, no, dude. Have you ever done that where you lost you couldn't find my car?
I asked my friend about when we went to the Beyonce concert, whenever the last tour was at Dodger Stadium. And I was like, I can't believe somebody stole my car. Because I walked around for an hour and a half looking for my car. Nope. Just looked in the wrong place.
Do you want to, oh, this is one of the most
Katie
embarrassing stories that's ever happened to me. Is that I think I was at like the Century City Mall back in the day. I was having a crazy hectic day, and I went into the mall for a while, and I got everything I needed. And I went back out. It was maybe 2 hours later. So wait, JB, how drunk did you get the night before the theft? Wait, which theft? I don't know.
The front of your car.
I was very drunk, probably. I leave the mall. I go to my car.
Well, you said Century City Mall. I already know what the story feels like, by the way.
It feels dirty. I go to my car, and as I start getting closer to my car, I'm like, that sounds like my engine's running. I start walking towards my car. I'm like, that's my engine running. And then I tried to open the door. This is back in the day when the key didn't like protect idiots, where the key wasn't like, hey, dude, you can't lock this car. I'm in here.
Yep.
In those days, the key was like, you're on your own, brother. The car's locked. And it was running. Yeah. I had left the car running, locked the door, got out, went about my day. And then I was standing in front of my car like, oh my gosh. Yeah. For a second, I thought I was like, I should let this car run out of gas, because otherwise the dude's going to come and think I'm the ultimate idiot. But I'm like, I don't. So I call AAA. The guy comes like 20 minutes later, car's still running. And I go, yeah, I locked the keys in the car, but I don't say anything else. And then he goes, oh, yeah. And he's sliding the thing down. And it's taking a while. And he's kind of looking, and he finally looks up. He goes, yeah, I don't know if you know this, but your car's running. And I go, yeah, no, it does that sometimes. It just turns on by itself. And he goes, it does. I go, yeah, it's this weird thing. It just turns on by itself. It's like, so I was so embarrassed. Yeah, I was so embarrassed. I remember driving home, and you know that thing when you do something that stupid, and you're just on the ride home going, wow, how did I survive this long? I should be dead. That was crazy. Where you're like, your brain has no recollection of what you've done to get you to this point. You're like, wow, that was horrifying.
I wish that I could say this happened to us a long time ago, but this has happened to both Dickie and I recently. He's got a 2012 Prius that we bought from a friend. Fine car, totally smashed in, but it does the trick. It's very quiet. So you will put it into park and it will go into electric mode. So if you do not remember to hit the off button of the car, you can leave with the key, and then you'll hit the lock button, and it doesn't go like, it goes beep, 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 which is not the normal lock sound, but like it's new to us. So we're like, oh, okay. We've both come back to the car after hours of being in some place, and the car is like going in between electric and turning over to recharge the battery, in between electric, and it's just because the car is so quiet. You have no idea that it's still on.
The new cars too, when you're sitting in it, it feels like it dies.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you hit the gas, it goes, back, James. It's like something like your friend with narcolepsy. It's like, I'm awake. Here we go. I'm doing this. It's so funny. I told that before, and people were always like, no, you're an idiot. But apparently narcolepsy's done it 3 times.
No, you're not an idiot.
No,
Freddie B left the car running with his AC on, and my 2-year-old daughter in the car seat, and closed the door to walk around, and I hear the door auto lock.
Yeah. Yeah.
Carlos one time didn't he didn't put the car in park, right? And it rolled away.
Carlos has the greatest story. And then he begs the daughter not to tell mommy, because they were at a parking garage and he couldn't get out. Or something. I forget. He gets out, the kid's in the car. It's not in park.
Yeah, he went to validate parking.
The door closes and then it drives. It drove away.
Oh my God. So when I was a kid, my dad has my sister and I in the car in the driveway. He goes in to get something. I'm just dicking around in the car. I like jump over the back seat to get into the front. It's a stick. I've hit the car now into reverse. When my father comes out the front door of our house to come back to the car is across the street. Mm-hmm. We are in the neighbor's lawn across the street. We have rolled all the way back. My sister and I are just looking at each other, screaming, "What did you do?" And it rolled all the way. Thank God there was no traffic on the street. We just rolled right into the lawn.
2 days ago, I was with Hannah somewhere, and she goes, "Can I just stay in the car?" And I go, it's too hot and I can't leave the car running. And she goes, why not? And I go, because you might put it in drive. You might accidentally, knowing you,
I hadn't
you
even
might
thought
hit it
about
into
that.
drive
Yeah.
and the car would drive away. And I can't have that. And she was like, I would never do that. And I said,
We've
all
all done it.
now you've just told me the story that validated why I didn't.
I'm like a parking brake nut though. Do you guys I use the parking brake quite literally every time I park the car. Is that insane?
Yeah. No,
I mean, I know other people who do it. I don't personally, but I know other people who do.
It's going to screw me the one time I need it to be fully in drive. But that's the other thing. I then always forget that I have it and I start driving with it on. So who really wins? Nobody.
One time I'm in a parking structure in Santa Monica and I'm going to leave and I'm pulling out and I'm by the booth where I got to hand the ticket to the guy and I'm too far away. So I get out of the car and I go to hand it to him. And as I do, the car just barely latches behind me, locked. And I can feel it going. I go to grab the car door. I don't catch it in time. It latches. I look at the parking attendant and the parking attendant goes, you didn't just do that, did you? And I go, I did. Nobody could get out of the garage. There was one.
I'm sure everyone was patient about that though. Don't worry.
And I go, holy shit. And I look back at the dude behind me in the car behind me. And I just see him. He mouths, he goes, don't tell me you fucking just did that. And everybody was trapped in the parking structure. Nobody could get out. My car's running, locked, blocking the exit of the parking structure. They finally, I call AAA. It takes 20 minutes to half an hour. No one. People are yelling at me outside the car. You're a fucking idiot. You don't deserve to live. You should kill yourself. Like,
oh
people
my
are
God.
screaming.
You're getting online commentary in real life.
Oh, yep. It was before the internet. It was like, honestly, it was a precursor. It was like it was a foreboding of what was to come. It was the internet in a nutshell. Yeah. People just screaming at me going, and I was sitting on the curb. They finally undid some wire cables and tried to let people go over it. But some of the people were like, I'm not driving over a curb. I'm in a nice car. The SUVs went over the curb, but everyone else had to wait. They waited like 20 to 30 minutes until AAA came and berated me the entire time. And honestly, I had it coming. I totally deserved every bit of it.
But that was such an accident. It's not an on purpose. Oh my God. You got a lot of clips.
Here's the other thing. The dude could have stepped out of he didn't come out of the little booth.
Yeah.
He should have come to me, but he didn't because, you obviously, if your job's working in a booth at a parking structure, you're Better Call Saul or something something bad's happened and you're hiding from the law. That's pretty much.
I thought where we were going is those Santa Monica parking garages. There's like 12 of them, all like this, and they all look the same. So you have to remember which number you were like. And so I've gone into the wrong one before and been like, my car is gone. My car is gone. And then realizing I'm like a block away from the actual one. So I thought that's where you're going. My God, that's insane, Caleb.
I have so many bad cars. Jason, buddy. Here's what's funny. So anyway, the whole story about me talking about the car, like my friends were like, you had a crappy day. And I go, oh, you don't know anything. You should talk to my buddy, Jason.
Barry Brain Lesions here.
Barry, is that your nickname? Barry Brain Lesions?
Yeah, I'm now Barry Brain Lesions.
Oh, good old Barry BL.
With the two twins, we talked to our buddy Ben Duff earlier today, who also has a nonverbal son, and Jason's going through all kinds of. It gives me hope though,
because he's gone. He's 17 years, and I'm just at 4.
And
Anthony's starting. I will be honest, Anthony's starting to talk a little bit.
Yeah.
Well, that's amazing because his son's never said a word, right? Not one.
None.
Both of your kids spoke at the Halloween thing too.
Yes, they said trick or treat.
Yeah.
And thank you. And they both say thank you now. Logan definitely still is not talking very much.
Yeah.
Anthony, you can have a mini conversation as long as it's yes or no. And he is responding and understands. So we are heading in the right direction, at least with 50% of the.
I think that's maybe also why you think he's evil, is that he's just one that there's like a light bulb and you're just misinterpreting the light bulb for evil villain.
No, he wants to watch the world burn. You just watch it.
Okay, so let me ask you this then. In The Dark Knight, is the Joker the bad guy or the hero?
Oh,
I still to this day think Batman's the villain and Ra's al Ghul is the hero who's like, no, you've got to call the herd. I saw this story recently in England. Some of the places that used to be crazy farms and they can't farm anymore. A lot of those people are, you know what they're doing? They're rewilding their land.
So how's my audio now?
Yeah, you sound good now.
I said,
okay. Instead of the farming sucking all the nutrients out, what they did is they let it all go to seed. And they brought in cows and pigs and wild animals, and they don't mow, they don't do anything. And what it has become is this, in 20 years, has become this amazing, like all these animals that were near extinction are now living there, and people are coming as ecotourism.
What's ecotourism?
It's where people go out and they stay in a cabin or glamp or camp.
Oh, okay.
They get to bird watch. So all these birds that haven't been seen in years, and all these animals, and so
where eco-terrorists go to vacation. Kate?
No, I was picturing ECHO, like echo. I'm like, what kind of tourism?
Echo. I said eco-tourism, not eco-terrorism, right?
No, I heard you say exactly what you're supposed to say. I heard it as echo with an H, like. That
honestly, pretty soon there'll probably be terrorism tourism. It'll
Listen,
probably be
who's to
It is, Katie. That's absolutely true. It's the modern day biosphere. And so people are starting to do that because you can't farm the same land for 200 years. There's no nutrients left. And so they're trying to let everything go back to seed.
Yeah.
And it was really interesting. I thought, and they had like 3,500 acres. And it was a guy in a castle who spoke very properly British, who'd obviously had some, the gene pool probably was overlapping somewhere.
Okay.
He was, and they were, these guys inherit these things. They're like the 8th Baroness of such and such. And so all of a sudden they need to find a way. It's Downton Abbey. They're trying to find a way to monetize the castle.
Yeah.
So he did it in this way. They let it go back to nature. And over 20 years, it was amazing. The whole field it was like, this is what the land would have been like 5,000 years ago.
Well, it's so interesting because that's not that wildfires are good, but there are places where they'll actually like
they are good. Fires are good.
They are, but obviously not for air quality. But like when it gets out of hand, like controlled fires are like apparently really good for crops, because what happens is like then yes, you have a season where you're not gonna, but like what ends up happening then is it gets this very rich soil.
That's right.
I mean, look what happened in The Lion King. Everything turned out good when that happened.
Yeah. Wait, what in The Lion King?
We've talked about it a lot.
Burn the bitch down.
You got to call the herd. The herd has got to be called. Man.
Okay, so that feels a little different than what Joker was doing, because he was doing it with human lives. But I like that we
not Joker.
Ra's al Ghul, and so and I also Thanos is the good guy.
No, I won't do this with you. He's just trying to enslaved me.
Dude, Thanos is like, look, there's too many people. What if I cut it by half? Okay, let me ask you this. Say you're at a party, a killer party, and all of a sudden, it's like you're one of the first people and the party's rocking, and then an hour later, you're like wall-to-wall people. If you could snap your finger and get rid of half the people, come on, man. You'd be the hero of that party.
It's hard to go on record as agreeing with this. Do you know what I mean?
Well, I won't just because of my own principles, but also on the other side of that, he just wants convenience at a party, and he justifies it with genocide.
Yeah.
Listen, I never said they were killed. When you snap your fingers, they don't go away. They just go to another party. They just go to a different.
Oh, is that like
that is not the same thing that Thanos did?
Yeah, I don't think he sent them to a different party.
Well, apparently it all worked out because they all came back. So what's the big deal now?
You can do that without snapping, Jamie. You just send them with a group Uber.
I love superhero movies where it's like, oh my God, they killed that character. Don't worry, we'll do some multiverse time shift and everyone's coming back.
Can I tell you? I will say
he's trying to get me to snap, and I'm not going to give him the satisfaction.
But I have to say, I agree with him.
No, Tony Stark's dead, and that's the end of Tony
Stark. And let me tell you something, Kaylor. I could not agree with this more. And where it, like, I think one of the most gutting moments of television for me ever. If anybody hasn't seen Game of Thrones yet, A, you should. B, leave for a couple minutes and there's going to be spoilers.
Spoiler alert!
That Ned Stark full and properly dies. I was like, oh Oh my God, the person who I thought was the lead of this entire show is dead.
Right out of the chute. Right out of the chute.
But then what happens? They fucking bring Jon Snow back. And I was like, you cheated. Now, maybe that's in the books, but even still, I'm like, lame. You just knew Kit Harington became like.
Reading's for losers. Nobody reads.
Yeah. What? Like, how did Kit Harington? I mean, I loved him. I love Jon Snow, but I was like, don't kill him off if you're going to bring him back. Anyway, I just am agreeing with your point. You can't bring these fucktards back.
Well, you got dirty.
Sorry.
Got dirty. Just see it.
I'm sorry.
It felt right, though.
It felt right.
Right.
It's Sean Bean. He always dies. Really good point.
We've been sharing stories, the three of us, a little bit about what's happening in the world. And it was funny to read. I had sent you guys a story about this. So in China, Mulligan, this is the story. Facing job scarcity in China, apparently when you have 1 billion people you can brag about, there's not a lot of stuff for everybody to do. Mm-hmm. People need to take turns because
are the machines taking over there also?
They will eventually. Don't worry about it. Trust me, the machines are slow playing the game. They know what's happening.
Yeah.
They're in no rush.
Yeah,
they don't need to. They're not dying. They don't die, so they have eternity. They could just outlast us. They could surround us, cut off our food supply, and it's over.
Yeah.
So here's what's happening in China. Facing job scarcity in China, some find work as full-time children. Young people shut out of the labor market or burned out from overwork are being hired by their parents to do housework and be on hand whenever needed. So parents are paying their own children to work for them because there are no jobs for adults/children. Thoughts?
Wow. So, I mean, I guess my kids are already doing that.
I will tell you, if I had there's a difference for me. If I had a company that I could hire my kid at, I would hire my kid at a company. But would I hire my kid to live with me? Nah.
Well, here's the problem. I have other people who work for us, whether they clean or do stuff. And the last person you would want is your own child, because your child would be like, I don't feel like doing that. And you'd be like, I'm paying you. I mean, how do you yell at someone working for you when they're your child to go like?
Oh, you could be even more brutal. I would contest.
What your kid's gonna be
I feel like Jamie would be more brutal with.
Dad, what are you gonna fire me, Dad? You gonna fire me, Dad? Yeah, you're fired, jackass. Yeah.
I think the problem for you, Jamie, is when you and I talked on the phone today, your girls were working for you for free. So I think it would be hard to start paying for something that you've already gotten for free. If we're being honest, I think you're
using the word free inappropriate.
Yeah, you're right. But I feel like it's gonna.
Oh, okay. When I just took them to Dick's Sporting Goods to get new goggles, new bathing suit, new swim cap, new volleyball. She had to have the O2 squeezy water bottle that not just lets you drink, but you can mist yourself with it. And she was like, everybody in the swim team has it, Daddy. I have got to have. All right, fine, whatever. I can't fight you.
I have to be careful because my twins, if they don't like the chores they're given, they just turn on me into violence.
My kids, it's so funny. If there's a piece of paper, it would take me 3 seconds to pick it up, but it takes me 45 minutes to get one of them to pick it up.
I know.
And at the end of the day, you're like, what is my incentive to even? Why am I doing this? It's so painful because they're not learning anything. They're not like, oh, next time, because the next time it's the same loop.
Yep.
The next time I go, are we ever gonna clear our plates?
Really? No, it's like Groundhog's Day. It's like with Bill Murray. You're just gonna keep living that over and over and over.
My sister asked me the other day, and I felt like truly like, oh wow, I've really messed this up. Like one of the many things I've messed up as a parent. But my sister's like, what are the boys' chores at home? And I was like,
wait, the chores?
and I haven't like set up a thing. Like there's not like, we'll do like, okay, it's toy cleanup, get your toys cleaned up. We'll like enforce like, okay, this, but like I don't have like, do you guys have a thing? Like, do your kids, we've started to do like, okay, put your bowls in the sink, but I don't have like I don't know how badly have I messed this up? He's the oldest
If
is
I could
8.
go back and start over again, I would. I would start
Yeah.
the whole process.
We do a la carte chores with Jace. The twins have no responsibilities because
they're
don't
still young,
care.
though.
Yeah. Yes. They're 4. Like that to me is like, I'm not talking about James necessarily.
Hannah is going to be 10 years old next week.
Next week. Oh my God.
Yeah. And we are, we tried chores. She's actually been really good. And actually, can I tell you, I'm so proud of her this week. Her glasses. So we started contacts. And she's done them like 3 or 4 straight days, and they are going well. It was harder to get my wife to put them because my fingers are too big. My fingers are too big.
You do have man hands.
But I can't put them in. And so my wife finally
got the mitts.
Yeah, it's been actually so rewarding of like, she goes, we took them out the other night and she goes, it's weird because now I'm realizing how blurry the world is.
Oh.
And it kind of broke my heart a bit. I was like, I tried to tell her, she goes, no, I'm good. She kept saying I'm good. I go, because I watched her at the eye doctor, like couldn't make out one letter on the wall. And I was like, you can't see. She goes, no, I'm good. I'm good. She's like that Alzheimer guy who's like 95 and you're like, you don't remember that? He goes, no, I remember that. I remember that. I remember. Yeah.
Best day of my life. That's not what we were talking about, Al.
So she's been doing contacts in this kind of renewed phase of like, oh.
Can I tell you something? The other thing is all parents listening at home that have children that are, I guess, in the cellular age that like our children are. Apparently, every child in this generation is going to have glasses or eye issues because we have given them screens that are small and are up close.
Both of mine need glasses already.
Yep.
But my wife needed glasses young, so I'm wondering if they inherited her eyes.
But like Dickie doesn't, to this day, does not. He is perfect 20/20. I did not need glasses till I was 30 or 28, and Neil already needs glasses.
I started getting glasses.
Yeah.
Katie has a great question. She says, also, do you guys pay allowance for doing chores? She says, I say no. You live here. You pull your weight. That bloop has to get done, and Mama is only one person. So we do pay. It depends on the chore. Certain chores, no. Like if it's a big thing, I'm like, yeah, I'll throw a couple bucks here and there.
Yeah.
Travis, narcolepsy says, what do you say? The days of cereal left in the sink. That's the other thing. It's like, oh my God, my kids. It's like, we'll still find plates in like closets and stuff. It's crazy. Travis says, my boys are young, though. You don't want to get them too many responsibilities at 16 and 13.
Yeah. Here's the thing. It's maybe what you were talking about, Kayla, which is like, I also want things done well. And at 8 years old and 5, like, I just know that it's going to be faster and better for me to like, I don't know. Sometimes I'm doing it for time too. Like if I let them sleep in a little before school and then we're running late, it's like, I'm not going to be like, no, go back in and bring your bowl to the sink. Like
I do that to my own chagrin where I'm like, what am I
doing? Is that your Marine background that is the very precise protocol?
You
know, we have long talks where I'm always like, because listen, by
the way, he was in the Navy.
I think people think I work harder than I do, but I go, look, just get it over with, man.
Yeah,
I say this would
that's what I say to Dickie every time he wants to.
If I had one team,
just get it over with, man.
Just finish.
Can we just?
I always say,
mind if I'm playing Animal Crossing at the same time?
You back on Animal Crossing?
And honestly, I don't think he does.
I'm off Dreamlight, that's for sure.
I don't think he cares whatsoever. He's like, no, do you, I'll do me, and I'll meet you at the end. I would say focus on the task at hand. And so it drives me crazy when they walk away from one thing and I go, just finish what you're doing, then move on to project number 2. Like that's what drives me crazy is they're scattered. Like I'm scattered. And I've always said I'm on the edge of the spectrum somehow. Like I have OCD to a degree where I need things a very certain way. But I'm always like, whatever I start, I'll finish it and then move on to the next chore.
Do you remember when Claire used to be on, she told us that her kids, in order to pull their weight, have to do it. But if they wanted to earn extra money, she had a board of chores that had a set dollar amount that if they did that extra thing, they could earn extra cash.
I've done that.
And how did it work?
My kids are like, that's not enough money. And I'm like, that's money. That's money. Like, I was like, okay, if you want to sort the, like, because one of the things that's like, I'll do like loads and loads of laundry and then everybody's clothes are mixed together. So the other day I just said, before you guys can go out and play, I need you to go through and put your clothes in your pile and your clothes in your pile. And then that's going to help mama a lot. But like, I used to put that up on the board and I'd be like, $1 if you do this thing. And they'd be like, $1 is not that much. I'm good. I'm like, what?
You know what I would say then? I go, all right, it's 50 cents and you're still going to do it. And then if they go, well, that's not enough money, I go, well, it's zero.
Now it's free. Yeah. Now you just have zero. I know, you're right.
And then eventually I'd be like, I'm taking $5 out of your piggy bank and you're still going to do it.
Yeah.
Like I'm the worst.
You know what? I need to be more like that, Kaylor.
When we negotiate, she goes, I go, well, I'll give you $5. And she goes, it's not enough. And I go, I'll give you $3. And then she still fights me. I go, I would take it sooner than later because I am not.
It's going down.
There's no, like, I'm bargaining only to appease you. I don't have to bargain.
Yep.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I still think, there was something about people. There's something about fear. Like, I still think, God, my kids were saying something about being afraid. And I was like, you should be afraid. You should be a little afraid. Little. It's like in Bull Durham when he talks to the pitcher and he goes, hey man, hit the bull. He goes, hit the mascot. He goes, why? He goes, so the guy doesn't dig in that much in the batter's box. He needs to think you could hit him. They really, people behave better when there's just a little, obviously. I mean, I don't hit them that much and I never hit him in the face and I only hit him with a phone book in the, in the midsection. So not to bruise. I know some stuff.
It's fair. It's all fair.
By the way, I was going to say the only, I've never seen Bull Durham, but it's Dickie's favorite movie, not for the content of it, but just because he says Susan Sarandon changed his life in that movie.
She's pretty hot.
He's like,
it's actually it's the same as Tin Cup. It's Ron Shelton.
Yeah.
Joke after joke after. I mean, it's just really well scripted. It's a great script.
What happened to Renee Russo?
Oh my God. I could watch
the Marvel movies.
I could watch the Thomas Crown Affair almost every night.
Wasn't Renee Russo also on Tin Cup? Am I misremembering that? I'm misremembering that. I'm not doing that right. Well, no.
He literally went to Google it.
I'm gonna just Google it in front of people. Tin Cup cast. Renee Russo, boom!
Oh, she was.
And
she's
and still undefeated.
Yeah, she played Thor's mom in a bunch of the Marvel movies.
It's funny. My boys are both getting into Marvel now. Jason, you'll be happy to know. That's not true. Neil's getting into Spider-Man, and I'm not sure if it's the Sony version or the MCU.
They've combined it all into one now.
So it's all the same, but isn't there like an MCU? MC,
it was separate, but now they've kind of made them all so that they all happened.
But so Neil's mainly on Spider-Man, but James is like, I think Thanos is my favorite character because he obviously
on brand,
somebody who wanted to be Palpatine at the age of 3 and then went for the snitch droid BB-90. But I will tell you that oh God, where was I going to this?
I don't know.
What were we just talking about? I made them watch Goonies, which is the only movie I care about. And when he was like, I like Thanos, he's like, is Thanos real? I'm like, no. And in fact, Bran is Thanos. And he was like, what? I'm like, Bran from the Goonies is Josh Brolin. He was in that movie when he was a kid. He grew up and he's Thanos. For real? No, he didn't really grow up and become Thanos, but he grew up and became Thanos. I mean, it was very hard to explain actors versus whatever. But yeah,
Bran from boys.
Boys are doing good. I think, she was them. There you go. She was in Tin Cup. Boom. You're back. What happened?
Hannah. This is insane. I go, who's on? Hannah's on an iPad in the bath. She's sitting in a bath on the iPad watching YouTube videos of people watching other videos, commenting on those. I can't even.
Let me ask you a real question. The way that, like, if you have a hair dryer, I'm gonna prove myself to be incredibly stupid. If you have a hair dryer, you drop it in the bath, you get electrocuted. If you have an iPad and drop it in the bath, the iPad gets broken. You don't get broken, right?
Correct, because one is not a continuous current.
With the hair dryer now, I would argue that I wouldn't try this out there, but I think you would kick off the breaker. The GFCI. I would kick the breaker off, but I don't know. The
ground fault circuit interrupter.
Lights in pools really freak me out. They freak me out hardcore.
I've always wondered that too, Kaylor. We've got a little light.
It is a thing for me. Because well, wait, didn't that happen in Orlando where one of the lights were short circuited and somebody got hurt?
Oh, it happens every year.
GFCI, baby. I said GFCI. I knew it.
That's why they're a GFCI. Is that right, Travis? Is that so?
Ground
that's
fault circuit interrupter.
I don't think it would kill you, right? Is that right, Travis?
No, I think you're right. Yeah, I think it would cut. You're right. It would probably. You might get a shock, but.
Oh, it would give you a shock. Yeah.
It'd be shocking.
But it's not I'll do it later tonight and let you guys know how it goes.
Stop it, Colin. Colin's fine, everyone.
I'm going downhill from here. There's no point. If this is the best things are ever going to be for me, I give up.
To what extent do you want to update the people?
I mean, they kind of are updated where we're at. I guess I did have an appointment this week. I went to the orthopedics, and she said, without a shadow of a doubt, this is coming from your brain. It's nothing else. It is your brain that's doing all of the things.
Well, I think everybody's brain's doing all the things. But what exactly is your brain doing?
So the electrical shocking of the hands it's both of them, and it's also moving into this shoulder now. So, like, remember when Jim in Ace Ventura 2 when he gets shot with the darts and he's running, he can't use his arms? That's my every morning.
Hey.
Well, don't worry about it. Here's what happens as you get older. Everything works out. It all falls into place, and the human body actually, as you get older,
this gets better.
It gets better.
Yeah, it gets better.
Everything's pretty great. Yeah. This morning, for some reason, it feels like I have a compound fracture in my thumb. Like it doesn't, and I'm like, what happened to my? You just wake up days and you go, oh, you remember that day I fell off the ladder when I was 12? I feel it now. Here it is, and
it's like
What is the prognosis? How do you fix what you are dealing with?
They don't know because they've got to figure out what the cause is, and so until we go to Rochester in September, which is the soonest they can get me in, no answers.
Can they get you a new brain?
I mean, it's an option. And here's the thing: if they could just get me a clean brain, we could upload the AI me into it.
Oh, geez.
You know what? They could build it in a lab because the same way they make, you know how they grow ears on mice back? Have you ever seen that?
Yeah.
Well,
yes. Yeah.
A mouse with an ear growing on its back, and then they cut the ear off and put the ear on somebody. They should do that with like a mouse with a giant brain, and they put a brain on his back, and then they cut the brain off the mouse, put it in your head, and then load it up with the AI. The whole thing seems like an easy fix.
Is there a brain, like there's lesions on your brain? How many lesions are there?
Like a dozen.
Oh, it's that like, and are they big?
I can't load it now because it takes too long. But I showed the whole thing the fired time we had. I showed that there's a bunch of them.
And I never feel like I see it though. People are like, you see those gray spots? I'm like, no. Like I just didn't. Whenever somebody like looks, they're like, "This is."
There's a single photo. I'll have to text to you later. But there's a single photo that shows them really, really well, and they're very defined.
Okay.
Narcolepsy says going to have to go full doc.
It was always my destiny.
There you go. Well,
what
so I guess
causes these things?
Yeah, like can you get them biopsied? Is that the next step? Is it a?
So the next step is they're going to do a lower nerve biopsy to see if it's my lower nerve system and not my upper. I don't know.
It's a lower nerve system.
I guess I don't know. I'm a little unclear about it because they said there's like your central nervous system and then one like kind of a subset or a substructure.
Like we mean lower, like waist down, or do we mean like under the top set of
under
nerves
the top,
all through the whole entire body? Wow.
Yeah, it's like a subsystem.
Okay. Jeez.
So just to summarize for everyone who's listening and watching, you have brain lesions, which are making your arms.
Which is akin, they told me, is akin to a 70-some-year-old brain that is starting dementia.
Okay, so there's that happening. Your wife had a stroke, and she has a pacemaker.
Correct. Which we just got looked at, and she's doing okay.
Okay, good.
Hey,
and you have two
lemonade.
children that are nonverbal.
Correct.
1.5 children.
I mean, to be
Well,
fair,
I mean, still at like a 2-year-old level at 4.
Just saying. Take a
in the
win where you
parenting
can get
world-
it.
Well, listen, in the parenting
Take
world, that's called a trifecta, and nobody
Yes.
can beat you. That's, I mean,
Did you watch the movie A Perfect Storm? Because that's what you're having. It's all 3 things.
I didn't have to because I am currently living it. And unfortunately, the brain lesions, I never remembered if I actually saw it or not.
By the way, you guys, I hung out with Troy in New York. He came out to the show. I got to
Oh,
hang
that's pretty cool.
with Troy.
that's cool.
Troy came out to the bar after. We had fun. Troy has a big beard. I think I was just tugging on it most of the night.
Well, I picked a hell of a time to tune in. Glad to see everyone, says Troy.
Troy's deeply funny.
Hey, to be fair, here's some positive stuff about brain lesions, just so you know.
Yeah, positive stuff. Mm-hmm.
Just listen. I like to see the silver lining. That's all. That's who I am. You know that.
Yeah,
You know that's who I am.
that's how
So
I'll
here-
describe you.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So listen, a lot of times people can't remember stuff and they take it as a negative. But how great would it be to watch all the Avengers movies again for the first time?
time.
I will do that, actually.
Also,
Wouldn't it be
Jason,
great if every day you woke up and you go, "Oh my gosh, I've never seen the Avengers. This is going to be magic."
yes. Also, Jason, hello. Why is your life painful? Because you're alive for it. So when you die soon of these brain lesions, the pain will be gone.
That's right.
I actually, Melissa and I had the talk recently, and she asked what do I want done with me after I pass, and I would like to be taxidermied and posed at the edge of her bed. Always watching, Wazowski. Always watching.
What's the pose? What pose?
Oh, it's going to be an Iron Man.
Well, we know he's going to be in the leather hat. We know that for sure.
Yeah. Well, no, Kate, here I argue that I will be fully posable for each holiday.
Is that what you
See,
really want?
I'm
You want
in.
to be stuffed? You want to be taxidermied?
Yes, I do.
They won't do that, Jason. They don't do that for people.
I will find. Oh, you've seen where I live. Somebody here does it.
You say they won't. Somebody.
They will.
Somebody.
That's when they go like, cloning's illegal. Sure it is.
Sure it is.
Some dude just spent $500 million on a yacht. You don't think that dude's cloning himself in South America? Absolutely.
What's your buddy? Your buddy there that hosts the Haunted Legends podcast? He probably knows a guy. I could probably contact him.
Dude, I know a dude. It's gonna be like Minority Report. There was a dude. He puts the new eyes in for you. Just some weird thing.
Oh.
Not gonna be fun. Yeah.
But Jason, there is actual piece of good news, which is that this is not MS, which is one of our big fears. Now, could it be something worse than MS? Sure, but the only information we have right now is that it is not MS. So let's
Current
take
data
that win.
suggests that's a positive.
Yeah.
Also, Jason, it could be something no one's ever had before. Which
Boom.
It could be people years from now will be like, "Oh, I got Gowan area." And they go, what do you mean Gowan area? Hey, by the way, like Lou Gehrig's disease.
Hello.
No, that's true. And then there'll be a TikTok challenge.
People nowadays probably don't even know that dude was a baseball player.
Hello.
Lou Gehrig invented
No, they just know him from the ice bucket challenge or whatever it was.
That's right.
Yours would be the leather hat challenge. Everybody has to put everyone has to put on a leather hat in the least appropriate scenario. That's the challenge.
I'm putting those when we start our Amazon affiliate thing. The first thing that goes in there is official TPL leather hats. That needs to be a thing.
If you don't start selling leather hats, I can't.
Yeah, what are we even doing here? So
Well, I like to bring these ideas to the table here as a think tank. I think it works
Let
out.
me ask you this: isn't a brain lesion more brain? Like it's part of
No, it just decays the brain you have.
The lesions decay. I agree with Jamie. I thought it was extra.
It'd be like if you come in, so you have a really well manicured lawn and you come in and you stomp holes all over it. You still have that as part of your lawn, but they're no longer beautiful.
But I felt like lesions, like, oh, you've got a lesion. I thought it was like extra. It was like excess of it's like I've got this mole, right? Like, isn't a lesion kind of like a mole? It's like extra. It's on
like
top of.
she referred to them like she called them sores that like do not get better. The only thing that I guess will help is that she has said that avocado would be a good thing for me to continue to eat.
I eat a lot of avocado.
Wait, why avocado?
It's got a healthy fat that helps rebuild
avocado is one of the healthiest things you can eat. I love when people go, it's fatty. It's good fatty.
Can I also ask, is this like, when they say it's like a 7, is it possible, and I'm not trying to throw you under the bus or say this is your fault in any way, but like, is this like, are they like, oh, this looks like a person with CTE, or this looks like a person who's used a lot of drugs, like whatever, like, is this comparable? I know you said it looks like a 70-year-old with dementia, but like, could Mick Jagger's brain in 1960 also have looked like this because he was so heavily into, like, do you know what I'm saying? Like, could a partying past have anything to do with this? Not that it's your fault.
In that space.
Oh, you didn't do drugs.
No, because I would be covered.
I thought you did.
You would be absolutely covered in
Jamie, we don't know that you aren't. The only reason he knows is he got it checked out.
True. But my arms aren't numb.
Well,
you
there are advantages. After Kayla
didn't know her vision was blurry.
Well, Jamie had told me one time that it would be like it was like a stranger was pleasuring you every time you touched yourself, and so
it'd be great if you both your arms were numb. You could just take a
different person every night, and the brain lesions I forget, so it's like I meet someone new every day.
Dude, listen, a lot of people think that I am negative. I'm always finding the positive.
He's positive, maybe. He's positive.
Yeah.
Other question. You had a very severe, almost died from COVID case. You had Delta. Could this have anything? Is this a repercussion they're seeing?
They said it is possible.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did say it was possible.
No way. And I went for drugs, which would have been so much more fun.
Narcolepsy, because you talked about Mick Jagger. He was not a big party. What if it's
Mick Jagger? I don't know.
He had the moves like Jagger.
Sorry, okay, I don't know. I just somebody who seems like they did a lot of drugs. Can they look like this?
So wait a minute. So yeah, I just seem like somebody who's done a lot of drugs.
You have pictures of you just dressed as Buzz Lightyear hitting somebody from behind. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just assumed it was a party.
That was all natural, my friend. That was only alcohol fueled.
Jason, what about this?
Listen,
I don't want to keep bringing up positive things about brain lesions.
No, please do.
So one time I was in a 7-Eleven in San Diego, and this dude in a bathrobe that had a name tag that said like Earl walked in, grabbed a Snickers bar. We all just watched in amazement, started eating it, and then just walked right out.
Hungry? Why wait?
And I turned to the guy at the counter. I said, "What's up?" He goes, his name wasn't Earl. He goes, "That's Frank." A name tag that said Earl. It was really strange. And he goes, "It's Frank. He's got dementia. He's cool. Don't worry about it." Could you do anything you want in life, knowing that if anyone ever calls you on it, you go, "Dude, I got brain lesions," and people go, "Oh, dude, sorry about that."
I do feel like there is some sort of room there for me to play with. I'll start it here soon. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah. I mean, I think you're going to have to get a little more glassy-eyed. You'd need to be a little more non-cognitive, a little more out there. But I think pretty soon, within 6 to 8 hours, you should be ready to be. Is that too soon, Kate? Is that too soon?
Not at all. No.
All right, 10 hours from now.
Well, I want to call this. Yeah. This is a segment, Jamie, I want to call Doc Pause, because I feel like I feel like people will be like, all right, like, who wants to call into Doc Pause? All right, we got another caller on the line.
Listen, I'll take anybody who wants to post a question to Doc Pause. I'm all over it. But I will tell you, my wife has looked at a lot of WebMD, and she hasn't had any of the diseases she's told me, but she's told me she's had like 45 different diseases, from brain tumors to skin cancer to whatever. None of it panned out. But I know a lot about medicine. Okay, probably Troy. Troy probably got to let probably
gotta let them rest you once or twice at the beginning to really make the story, and then you've got years of getting away with it. Honestly, I'm fully prepared to do that.
Hey, Doc Pause. Ben Duff has a rash.
Got a rash?
Yeah, he's got a rash. And what would you like to tell him about his rash, Doc Paz?
Well, that's obvious. I mean, a lot of the rash is toxins in the air right now. I think a rash is great, though. It makes you Here's the positive side of a rash.
Yeah.
I got nothing. There's nothing positive about a rash.
All right, other doc pause. Listen, here's what's great about a rash.
What is it?
If wherever it is, you can get out of sex by pretending that it's there. Sure. So if you're tired tonight, Ben, you just say like, "Oh, I got this rash," and maybe it's just on your elbow, and you can be like, "It's everywhere," and then you're out of having to do anything.
I agree with that. I think a rash is it's all it is it's telling you to pay more attention to that part of your body.
That's right.
So a lot of times I will have I won't, I'll just be worried about a rash in my nether region, and so I'll pay a lot of attention to that area. In the worry
just thorough investigations,
a rash might become if you're worried about a rash maybe in a certain area, it might be time to maybe get in there, really investigate that area of your body. Really make sure the human touch is very, very healing. Sometimes you want to get a lot of touch in there. Yeah, and creams can be used, and assorted ointments and salves, like a salve. That's such a good word. Salve. It's
good, yeah. Like a Astroglide. You know what I'm saying? Like
something like that. Like Y,
water based.
Yeah, like a KY, not a Y, but a KY, and get that in there, and then just really. Everything works better with a little lubrication. Kate's good thing about will always come around. I know, right? Freddie, I thought the same thing. She's like, I go, that's a bad thing.
No, it's
wait. So you don't? I mean, you just are over it. I mean, at what age did your interest in lovemaking die?
When I was 104. Oh, you were talking to Kate. I'm sorry. I thought you were talking to me.
Oh, I mean, it was a round table discussion.
I used to do a joke when I was a young woman. That was like. Oh, I always heard dudes being like, "Oh man," I used to always hear dudes joke about "Yeah, I've got a girlfriend, or I got a new girlfriend, or as I like to call her, the end of blowjobs." And I was always like, "Let me tell you something, guys. If you even get one blowjob in a year, that's an amazing statistic. When you consider the fact that your dick tastes like a dick, you're lucky to get anything with a dick tasting." I would go on this whole thing because I was like, "That's so untrue."
First of all, that's not the type of language we use here. Please. Young lady. And do you see when you go dirty? That was dirty.
I was just doing an old bit that I used to do.
Listen, I get it.
The point
still cleaner than lamb chop.
There we go.
Actually, much cleaner than lamb chop.
But my point is that I used to be so outraged that there was this I was like, how dare they say that women have less sex drive? I've got plenty. I'll tell you what. No, once the children came, nope, I'm good. Thank you. It's a bummer. It's
a lot of guys.
Died with games.
They go, we have the same sex drive as men. No, you just don't. It's
you do. I will say, when I was 20, I was game all the time.
My wife must be the exception to the rule.
I can't. Yeah, it's certain things. It's
listen, I will still do what I have to do. I understand my job. Okay, I get it, but it's just I'm sort of like.
I can tell you every person, every guy who's listening to this or watching this has at some point in their life had 104-degree temperature in bed near death.
Mm-hmm.
Still
snapped one off. They do. Yeah. It's just you can't. Yeah. I don't even know what to tell you. There's times where you're like,
well, it gets the blood flowing, which they find is very healing.
You're going to throw up, and you're still like, this will give me 30 seconds of pleasure. It's different. It is different, and it's built into the species. We're supposed to
yes
the species.
I think honestly part of that is my body, I procreated, which is what my body was like, okay, we've done what we're supposed to do now. You don't need that other thing now. But I've heard that I'm going to get a second wind, but it hasn't happened yet.
I mean, guys we wake up with oh, hi. And
I live with 3 men. All 3 of them wake up and they're just like, oh, sorry, sorry.
Morning wood.
Yeah.
Morning wood, yeah. I always love morning. As much sex. No, you don't. No, you couldn't possibly.
Well, see, Melissa's a weird anomaly then, because I am the hunted in this house.
Yeah, she is. We've told you you're lucky. Travis Gilbert says that his wife had a hysterectomy a few months ago and things improved for him. Very interesting. I do feel like it is a hormonal. There's no question.
I saw some story today where Naomi Watts had she hit menopause at 36 years old or something.
Oh God, maybe that's my excuse.
Maybe.
Maybe. I mean, Kate, it sounds like you just need to clear your cache, and then it might reboot itself.
Here's what sometimes it's also if it's hard because I think men, it doesn't matter how disgusting of a human being we are. We're just ready to rock and roll. But I think men, it's not so much about the other person; it's about themselves, and that they need to feel sexy and positive about themselves, and then they can be part of a ensemble.
Are you talking about more than one? Sorry,
I just think guys are like, we're kind of more disgusting creatures where you're not
gonna be self-conscious about getting with someone. You're just like, no, let's do this thing.
I mean, we are to a degree, but I definitely think for women it's way, I just think it's harder to be a woman. It sucks.
I think in a lot of ways, but I will tell you, bless my husband, he's like, I like you at every size. Let's just do this thing.
I mean, listen, I always tell people, I go, listen, at the end of the day, you better choose somebody you have fun being with without that stuff, because it's definitely not the same as when you're dating.
Yeah. Oh no, we do a real trick on y'all early on.
Guys, we'll fire up, I think, more so than women.
Yeah.
I'm sure I just got canceled. Is there a cancel?
No, you didn't get canceled at all. I don't think I'm the one that probably
being honest, and you didn't.
I hate to agree sometimes with other. I kind of watch both sides of I think we all do. I think most of us are somewhere in the middle, but there's a definite difference. I mean, we're not the same.
No.
We're not the same creatures.
No. And that's what I was saying. I remember the jokes always being like that women had less sex, and I just didn't understand. And like now I'm like, oh no, those jokes are probably funny because it's very true about older women. I think.
So mad if I post something about that. They go like, no, my husband, I'm the one. It's like, I get it, but overall in general, I would say men are more. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
But we also, I think we also see things.
That's true. Travis definitely had a better time married than dating. His wife is his girlfriend, then became wife, and that was based on religious views too. So
I was watching the documentary about Wilt Chamberlain called Goliath, which is really good. It's on like Showtime or something. And they were interviewing. He was unbelievably a womanizer.
Wilt Chamberlain was?
50,
sorry, he was in the NBA. It was foregone conclusion.
20,000 women or something insane, like two at a time, like constantly, huge. Promiscuous. And so he had a woman, one of the women he dated and had sex with a lot, was on there. And she goes, what happened is eventually we fell in love and we stopped having sex because this was her talking. She goes, he was unable to have sex with someone he was in love with because they were objects to him.
Oh, wow.
In his mind, sex wasn't something between two loving people. They were objects.
It was transactional.
It was transactional to a degree. And it was really interesting, I thought, to go. And some people are like that, where it's not.
Yeah.
It's hard to connect with somebody else. And it's more of a, back in the 80s and 90s, I think it was more of a, notch on your stick somehow, whatever it is.
You could go with belts. I feel like belts is the one people
go. Is it a notch on your belt? What is it? It's a notch on your belt. It's like stick. It's a notch on your stick. I used to have, by the way, early 90s, I had a stick. I had a big stick. And I would cut it, and people would go, what's that? And I go, that's my stick. I'm notching stick. And people go, what are you notching sticks? You should notch a belt. And I go, oh, you mean that's belt. My bad. And then I had to go buy a belt. The whole thing was a mess. It just got to be at this.
It's my notching stick is a really great line.
Why has Kaler got a stick he's notching? He doesn't know there's a belt involved. And then finally somebody was like, there's a belt, Jamie. And I go, ugh. And then I had to get a belt and I had to put all the notches back into that. The whole thing was very confusing.
How did Wilt Chamberlain die of a STD? Like, statistically speaking, if you sleep with 20,000 women, you definitely.
So it's very scientific. The fact is that his penis was so long that the disease couldn't travel that far. And so it would get like 10 to 15 inches up into it, and then it would just die. It wouldn't make it the full 28 inches. And so
Do you remember when everything happened with Tiger?
Did I just get canceled again?
No, it's a joke, people. People are allowed to make jokes still. I remember thinking like, oh, Tiger Woods is not going to play golf the same way ever again because part of what
he like banging in porn stars.
Well, yeah, like there was something about like his confidence was so like he could get anyone. He was sleeping with 18 women consecutively. Like he's just. I remember thinking like this is the guy that like part of what he believes he's so great is like it's just going to go away. So
that's an old joke of mine. I used to do, God, yeah, it was like even before I got married and had kids, I had a whole joke about having sex sober. Like, you know, when you're first dating, like nobody has sex sober. That was when my friends were like, I quit drinking. I'd always be like, oh, that's going to be uncomfortable. Because, you know, there's a certain sense of letting go when you're drunk that when you're stone sober, it's, I mean, I don't know. It's, you know, now you go, oh, I get it. But when you're dating and stuff, it's like, and I used to do this line of like, it's so weird. I'm inside you. That used to be the one. Narcolepsy knows that joke.
I feel like there's a comedian like an Ali Wong or somebody that like did a joke about like, yeah, it's weird to know that she's a mom. She's like, it's weird to know that everyone that lives in my house has been inside me. She's talking about her kids and her.
Really funny.
It's a really good joke. I hope I'm maybe miscrediting who it is. It's certainly not me.
It's funny. It's a good
but
joke.
Yeah. Anyway, we should probably wrap, guys.
Honestly, I just looked up. Honestly, this was so great because I honestly didn't even know it was 8:00 and it's 8:12.
We did it, guys.
Mulligan, welcome home, baby.
Thank you.
It was so great and so cathartic, and I hope you guys feel better, and I hope Jason's lesions maybe take the night off.
Yeah, take the night off, guys.
I'm not a lesion guy, but honestly, while your
Can't
hands
shut the show off.
While your hands are numb.
While your hands are numb, I would.
Doc Paz has a prescription.
Hello, meet Stacy.
And here's what's great is when you're with me next time, because your hands are numb, you can take care of everybody. You won't even know it.
I like you,
I was the one
Taylor, but I feel like that's crossing a line and not in our gentleman's agreement for this show.
I'll tell you what. Paint one hand.
I'll have to reread that agreement. I feel like
paint one hand.
We have a very special Thursday show this week, aren't we?
Yes, that's what you tell me.
Very special guest, Jason Gardner, former SEAL team. He lives out. He has his own crazy. It's like Captain Fantastic community. He's super cool dad, and he's going to come. We're going to do a very special Thursday night show, I think, this week.
Yeah, and then next week, Betsy Stover and Brian Kiley are here.
Yes, and then we have some other big ones coming up.
Andrea Barber, Kimmy Gibbler from Full House is here August 10th. We're doing a live show with her.
Sandy Danto's coming. Michael Palisak's coming.
Love Sandy Danto.
Pat McGann. Great comics are coming. We actually have a great fall scheduled for comics. So thank you to all you guys for tuning in. Really great to have Mulligan back.
Great to be back, guys. Thank you. And next Tuesday, I'm traveling back to Los Angeles. So
that's what we booked too.
Yeah. That's smart.
You guys, we got a lot of stuff coming in the fall. Actually, some crazy stuff. We have a website, merch. There's all kinds of stuff. People have been hitting us up to kind of expand, and we're bringing it out. So thank you to all you guys for.
And you guys have a show coming up in the fall and get in Sayre. If anybody's going to be on the East Coast,
October 6th and 7th. Yes.
Boom.
Tickets on sale August 15th.
And huge props to our core people: Narcolepsy, Freddie B, Travis, Cameron, Ben, everybody coming in. We really appreciate you guys. The jokes, honestly,
Brandon.
It was funny because Brandon. Jason and Kate and I were talking today, and honestly, we've all had like it's been a rough week, and each of us to a person was like, I could really use the show tonight. And so I don't know about you guys, I feel so much better for the Parental Mental Health Tuesday. Thank you for sharing, everybody. Super fun. Be sure to share with other parents who you think might need some help. iTunes, please subscribe and follow, review. You can always share this show. All you have to do is on your Facebook or wherever you're watching YouTube, just press share and it will share it out. And
if you're watching on Facebook, click and give us some stars. The stars help us. They give us little gifty gifts to help keep the show
stars. We have a lot of stuff coming. So thank you guys for being part of this. It's super fun and cathartic, and we really appreciate it. And that's it for tonight. What a fun show. I really appreciate everybody chiming in. And we'll see you guys next week here in the Parents Lounge.